Welcome to the Get Smart with Money podcast. I'm your host, Dana Hernandez, financial planner and author of Get Smart with Money, Break Free from the Struggle, Build Wealth on Your Terms, and Rewrite Your Money Story. Here we talk about money, entrepreneurship, growth, and resilience, because financial freedom is about more than just numbers. Each week, you'll get practical strategies, inspiring stories, and the motivation you need to stress less about money and create more freedom in your life. Let's get smart with money together.
An output product of what you've done
Yeah,
before that.
it's automatically what's going to come after all the research and everything is done.
Yeah. So if we don't do a good research or we don't plan it out right, yeah, most likely it's gonna be on a wobbly legs.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to somebody who feels overwhelmed or afraid to start their own business?
When I started, you know, I had, my I told you my business partner, former business partner, he had another business. So he was smart about this. He hired me for sales in his company, and he says, we're gonna put two phones. One is gonna be for his company, that I was working for now full time. And the other phone on the same desk will be for our mutual Ultimate Washer business. And I think that path of almost like part-time, even if it's something that you're doing in the evening or weekend, can build up to that. Because I would still, even though he gave me the phone, I wasn't abusing it. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do this stuff instead of, so I would still go home and write articles or read or call suppliers on the West Coast on my own time, and just researching the industry on weekends. So a lot of things can be done while you are still working full time
Mhm.
for someone else. Um, but you can't be part time in your mind. Like, you have to really be committed. I think that makes a big difference in, like, I'm trying to do it, but I'm really doing it. And so, I remember, I would hours and hours I would be working from home late into night every day. So I think being persistent and committing yourself uh, to the business, I think it's good. And at some point, you'll feel it. You'll feel it when it's time to transition. Um,
Mhm.
there's so many options today. Like, you don't even have to answer the phone. You can hire answering service. They can take messages. Um, so there's ways to go around. If you are not available, if you have to have that job to pay the bills until your business ramps up. But you can do SEO, you can do ads, you can still process orders if your company gets to that point to have orders, if it's an e-commerce business. And that's probably one of the easiest ways to get into business, and has been for years now, e-commerce. But anything else, like I
Mhm.
said, it's okay to start part-time and then build your way up from there.
Yeah, I've been doing part-time for probably close to 6 years now,
There you go.
in financial services because, like I mentioned earlier, I still work 50 hours.
Yeah.
So, I got 2 days to really do a lot. Otherwise, I try and squeeze in here and there wherever I can on the days that I do work. It really helps when I get off early and then I can do more. So, yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's starting to get better. Like, I wasn't the most focused in the beginning when I first started because I had put myself in debt in my 20s. So I've been kind of just trying to like not feel shame because of that. And I was like choked out by the debt and just been working 2 to 3 jobs a lot of the time, trying to climb out of the hole. But it's been a lot better since I started working 50 hours at this place. And then any other extra time I have, I'm recording. I had another episode earlier today and studying, trying to learn anything I can, doing all my CEs and keeping up on everything. So,
Yeah, that,
because
that's
it,
that's what it takes. It's extra
yeah.
hours. This is where you're gaining ground.
Hmm.
if it's just 8 to 5, it's not enough. I'll share this story. I had an employee, um, uh, who was a web designer, and he worked for me for about a year. And then one day he came up to me and says, "Oh, Victor, I'm I would like to give you a 2 week notice. I'm about to start my own business." And I said, "Oh, that's great. What is it? Not great that you're leaving, but it's great that you're starting a business."
Hmm.
And he says he wants to sell plasma TVs on online. And so I started asking him questions, knowing what I know and what is needed. One of the
Hmm.
things I said, well, are you, do you have enough savings to carry you for at least a year? Because that's how long it takes for search engines to get you out of the sandbox, pick you up, and start ranking you. And he says, yeah, 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 yeah. So I said, and he was married. I said, okay, do you have support from your wife at home? And he says, yeah, she's very supportive. I said, okay, supportive in a sense she likes the idea that you're a business owner, or like she's not gonna, give you a hard time. And he's like, no, no, she's very supportive. So he leaves. I wanted to help him. I even suggested the same setup like my partner gave me, like one phone, because he was a web designer. He wasn't a phone at all, but he had a phone. And I said, put your phone on a desk. I have no problem you answering if the calls come in. And he goes, well, and then I said, when you go home, then build your website, email your vendors, establish relationships. This is, oh no, I'm too tired when I get home. I can't do it. That was kind of a little bit of a,
Uh-oh.
sound of like orange flag, I guess. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh. And I said, okay, well, he didn't want to, like, go along and accept my offer in that sense. And 8 months later, he's calling and he says, Victor, I ran out of money. I can't support my family. Um, Wife's unhappy, of course, understandably. And he was asking for his job back. I said, "Well, I already hired someone. We need only one web designer. We we don't need two people." And
Yeah.
so, it's that's why, from that, I'm it's like if you have to double the work, you can't just say I'm going to be 8 hours working and call it a day. I'll be on vacation. I'll be still doing 4 to 6 hours a day, regardless.
Hmm.
It's just requirement. Maybe one day, if your business becomes so big that you don't have to be present and don't have to be working that many hours, you could hire. But typically, when you're starting out for a few years, yeah, you have to be committed.
Yeah. Would you say every single day or give
Well,
yourself like
I
a
work.
break?
I like my work. So for me, yes, it is every single day. I
But
mean,
for someone who's trying to build something on the side, because I really like that saying, it's not what you do from 9 to 5, it's what you do from 5 to 9. So
yeah.
would you suggest that every single day, or maybe if something doesn't work out how you wanted to get something done after work, like don't beat yourself up over it? Because I have like a thing where like I kind of tend to like feel guilty for not working on something when I just can't get to it, you know?
Well, I mean, if there are circumstances where you can, then you can't. But I don't think it's a rule where you have to. But I think the business demands. It just requires your attention. And so
Hmm.
if you're not there, your growth will be, slower, and you may miss things, you may not notice things because maybe you weren't thinking about the solutions for a couple of days. Um, I think it helps if you're actively looking at your emails, looking at your web traffic, speaking to vendors, speaking to customers. Obviously, I'm talking about when you're already starting to establish yourself, but even prior, just even with Avendo. initially we weren't talking to merchants, we weren't talking to payment processors. It was all about research and
Mm.
figuring things out. How do we get ourselves in that little pocket? You know, reading so many different articles and understanding the mindset, understanding the visa, what visa likes, dislikes, what are the really the regulations, the banks, the all this structure. So education for this business, unlike the e-commerce where, I just grabbed the catalog and loaded up the products into the website and I was live, right?
Yeah.
The payment industry is very different. 6 months just reading and learning was the key. Of course, that didn't cost me anything because I can do that from home with a connection to the internet, right? So every
Hmm.
business is different, but doing the homework early and understanding, fully the category and that you're in and whether it's a product or a service, and trying to solve the pain points is the key, I think.
Do you think that you needed to develop a lot of discipline, or you kind of already had that, or you just didn't really need it because you liked it so much?
I think I built the discipline with Ultimate Washer. I think it with this business it came more naturally to me, when it comes to really just understanding what I need to get done, understanding patience as well, because I think again I gave the example just rushing into grabbing different apps, grabbing different tools just because you like it immediately as you see it. Oh, this is a great fit right now, but you have to see a bigger picture. How will this really interact with other tools down the road? Like you have to be like, you know, don't think like I want to be $1 million company. Like I want to be $100 million company. What's required? What will be required of me to do that? And luckily we have AI now, right? And
Hmm.
that can really open up these um, floodgates when it comes to information and telling you, look at look at the crystal ball. You know, if we were to be this size company 5 years from now, what kind of tools do I need? And it'll give you a bunch of stuff that you can start evaluating one by one. And don't trust AI ultimately with everything because I've seen where they say one thing and then you go and you check, it's not exactly like that. And they're like, oh yeah, okay, you're right. So you still have to be very careful with not going 100% from the get-go with their suggestions, but it's a huge help inevitably.
It definitely is. So, if there's one message that you hope every listener takes away from today's conversation, what would that be?
I would say build SOPs. Um, Procedures are very important throughout the journey. I've had, situations where, not because we did anything wrong. I just employees have lives and they choose different paths and different careers and they leave. And, you know, uh, owner's memory is not a system. And these procedures have to be documented. They have to be written down so that the next person can be trained, or a person that maybe is moving from one department to the other can be trained and retrained. So that's one moment where SOPs are extremely needed, but also think of it in terms of when you're selling the business. When the buyer is looking at the company, they don't want to keep the owner in the company for 2 years until the new owners learn the business. The idea is that once everything is documented, it gives assurance to the new owners that they can master the business very quickly after they acquire it. So twofold why the SOP is important, and so yeah, that's one lesson that I've learned from peer entrepreneurs. I was a member of entrepreneurs organization group, and I throughout the years I never thought that I will sell Ultimate Washer because like, hey, it's working. It's this is great. You know, why would I sell the business? But you know, they always say prepare, 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 and you know, in the beginning you ignore, but once you start seeing, you know, how things can get bad, then you're like, okay, these guys know what they're talking about. You know, you have to listen. So there you go. Writing procedures early is very important.
Yes, I agree. I worked at a company where we made car parts, and there was SOPs everywhere for every single little thing. So, and they were helpful. They were just boring, but
They
but
were
they were
boring.
helpful.
Yes, I agree 100%. It's when if you're the subject matter expert and you have to write that procedure, that's totally boring. I agree. It's like, you know, but we made something really kind of different. I think we gave people ownership because we allowed them to name the procedures and they could put nicknames to them. So people would come be very creative and they can even put their name. So it almost kind of became a legacy for some people. They knew that that procedure will be seen by 5 years from now by XYZ and people, and they were like, "Oh wow, this was very well written. I understand it. I can follow it." So I think adding that little kind of incentive where they can name the procedures really worked. People took a little more excitement in writing these procedures than before. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of
Yeah.
makes it a little bit more fun to read.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Victor, thank you so much for sharing your story and your lessons you've learned along the way. If you'd like to learn more about Victor and Avendo, be sure to check out his links in the episode description and check out our website, getsmartwithmoneypodcast.com, for the blog and the links there. And if you've enjoyed today's conversation, please don't forget to subscribe to Get Smart with Money podcast, leave a review, and share the episode with someone who's looking to build their own dream. Thank you for being here, Victor, and I will see everybody next week.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.